Hi grade 5 students and welcome to our science class. How are you today? Okay, for this we are now in unit number 4 and we will be focusing conservation of living organism. Conservation of living organisms. So, for the lesson 1, we will be talking about the hereditary characteristics. So, hereditary characteristics. But before that, we will be going to define what is hereditary. Okay, what do you mean by hereditary? So, when we say hereditary characteristics, so these are the traits or characteristics that are passed from parents to offspring. Again, these are the characteristics that are passed from parents to their offspring, or what we call the children, or the okay, so that is hereditary characteristics. So we have also genetic inheritance. So when we say genetic inheritance, so this means that the passing of a certain characteristic such as the eye color, the hair color, and the height from parents to their children. So that is genetic inheritance. So inheritance is we can get that from our parents. So from our genes. Okay? So for example, we can get our eyes color to our mother, to our father, our hair color, or if our mom is having a curly hair, so there's a probability that also you can get a curly hair. So that is genetic inheritance. So like for this one, so like for examples, so some children inherited some traits. Examples, their eyes color. So if your mom or somewhat your dad had a blue eyes, a gray eyes, or a brown eyes, so probably the children also will get the trait. So also for the hair, so the hair type, so if your parents have a straight hair, so you can get also straight hair. If your parents both have a wavy hair, so probably you can also have the wavy hair, as well as the curly hair and the coily hair. So like that. So you can inherit. Like if you can observe Africans, okay, some of them have a coily hair. So of course their children can also get that one, okay? It is a passing of genes from the parents to the children. So example also we have the skin color. So if your parents are both black, of course you can have the skin color of black. So if you have an Asian skin, they can also have that color. If you're American, if you have this white color, so you can have also that. So that is genetic inheritance. So as well also as the height. Okay, if your mother or if your both parents are tall, so probably you're also tall. Also with your siblings. Okay, what do you mean by genes? Okay, when we say genes, so genes are made up of DNA, so which is located on the chromosomes which are present in every cell in our body. If you can still remember, our body is made up of a tiny cells. So and that cells we can find the genes there inside. So when we say genes, it's a unit of heredity which is transferred from parents to their offspring, and it helps to determine some characteristics of offspring. So again, genes, so hereditary, so meaning it will be passed So it will be transferred, okay, from the parents to their offspring. So somewhat we can get some characteristics that we can find in our father, and somewhat also we can also have genes from our mother's side. So when you take a look at this, so this is our cell. Again, our body is composed of a tiny cell, okay? That cell, inside that cell is, we have our chromosomes, okay? And that chromosomes, we can find our DNA, okay? DNA that we can find or located in the chromosomes of the cell. So, and which are present in our body cell. So again, this is our DNA that composed of our genes from our parents. So let's have the other terminology, which is, okay, we have phenotype. Again, phenotype. So when we say phenotype, it means that the physical characteristics of the organisms. When we say physical, of course you can see it, you can feel it, you can touch it. Okay, that's physical characteristics. So when we say phenotype, so that's the physical characteristics of an organism. Okay, of the human, of the animals. So that is physical, the outside appearance. Okay, like, so this is our phenotype. So again, phenotype is the physical characteristics of organisms that we can get, okay, hereditary, or we can get from our parents, which just comes from our genes. We can also have the physical characteristics from our environment. So that means from our genes into our environment, so we can have our phenotype. So genes can be divided into two types. So again, there are two types of genes. So we have what we call the dominant gene. Dominant gene. Again, we have dominant gene. If we say dominant gene as a one which produces its phenotypes, okay, again, is one which produces its phenotypes. So, of course, there is a dominant gene and there is another type of gene. So, like for example, so when we say we have our dad, if your dad has a dominant, we have brown eyes and your mom has a green eyes, so the children will get a brown eyes. So, and the blue is hidden. So that is what we call the dominant gene, meaning the eyes of your dad is dominant compared to your mom's eyes. Your mom, the colors of your mom's eyes. That is dominant. So dominant is the one who produces the phenotypes. So phenotypes again is the one that you can see physically. Okay, physical. The next one is we have recessive gene. Recessive gene. So this is the second type of gene. So when we say recessive gene, it will only produce its phenotype if both versions of the genes are recessive. Again, you can only attain this gene if both, okay, or it can also it will produce phenotype if both versions of the genes are recessive. Okay, like for example, someone will only have okay, like for example, someone will only have brown eyes if both versions of their genes are brown eyes. So like for examples, we have parent one. Example, this is our father. Our father has a brown eyes and our mother has a brown eyes. So brown eyes plus brown eyes, of course, they can get the children also have the brown eyes. So again, if both, okay, both are the same colors, so that's why you have your recessive gene. So you can only just attain that phenotype if both parents have brown eyes. Okay, next is we have, okay, parents can pass on their observable inherited, the hair color, and some other human traits that have been passed from grandparents to parents to offspring. So remember this, you you cannot just inherit some genes from parents, but you can also inherit some traits or some characteristic from your grandparents, from your grandfather, your grandmother, or even your aunt. Example, the sister of your mother. So you can also get some traits of them. So not only for the parents. Okay, do you understand? Again, genes cannot be inherited only from your parents, from both parents, but somewhat you can also get it from your grandparents, and even and you can also get from your aunt or uncle, that is somewhat the sister of your mother or your father. So again, genetic inheritance. So genetic inheritance does not only happen in humans, but also plants and animals. Of course, again, it's not only happen in humans, but also happens in the plants and animals. So meaning that each living organisms will have the same characteristic phenotype as their parents. So okay, let's have a trivia. Know it. Again, let's have a trivia. Know it. Okay, who can answer this question? Who is the father of genetics? Who is the father of genetics? Can anyone answer this question? Who is the father of genetics? Okay, this man, he discovered the heredity of a living organisms. That's why he was the father of genetics. So, if you happen to know him, he is Gregor Mendel. Gregor Mendel is the father of genetics. Okay, for your activity, okay, you can answer it in your notebook. You can answer in your notebook, or you have printer, you can print it out. Okay, so you have the direction here. You have to mark check if the statement is correct or if the sentence is correct, and you have to mark X if the statement is incorrect. Okay, the first question is, we have characteristics that are passed from parents to their offspring are called hereditary characteristics. Check or wrong? Again, characteristics that are passed from parents to their offspring are called hereditary characteristics. Is it check or X? Okay. Number 2, a student has dimples because the student has similar hereditary characteristic to his or her teacher. Is that possible that you can inherit some characteristics from your teacher? Is that correct, or is that check or X? Number 3, offspring receive hereditary characteristic from their parents. Check or X? Offspring, when you say offspring, children or the product of mating. So offspring. So offspring receive hereditary characteristic from their parents. Check or wrong? Okay, let's move on to number 4. Hairstyle and shoes are hereditary characteristics. Hairstyle and shoes are hereditary characteristics. Again, let me remind you, if you will say hereditary, meaning it's from our genes. Why? If you do your hairstyle or if you buy shoes, is that hereditary characteristics? Is it check or X? Now, for number 5, both parents have straight hair, so their children will only have straight hair. Is this check or X? If both parents, if the father or mother have straight hair, so their children will only have straight hair. Yes or no? Check or X? Let me remind you that offspring can also inherit some characteristic from their grandparents, not only for their parents. If you listen to our discussion. Okay, number 6. Height is a hereditary characteristic. Check or X? Height is a hereditary characteristic. 7. Both parents have double eyelids, but their children have single eyelids. Therefore, they are not their children. Is that a basis? That if your parents have the eyelids, you know, the line in your eye, okay, double eyelids, so if their children have single eyelids, is that a basis that you are not a child of your mom and your dad? Okay, you may check or X. Put X or check. Number 8, a father can rule his tongue, so a mother cannot rule her tongue. Therefore, their children either can or cannot rule their tongue. Is it check or wrong? That is also hereditary characteristics that can be passed from parents to children. So what if only father can rule his tongue and a mother cannot? So is it a conclusion that their children also can either, or some children can roll their tongue and some other can't? Is it check or wrong? Okay, for number 9, if one daughter has a different face from her parents, it means that this daughter might be adopted. If one daughter has a different face from her parents, it means that this daughter might be adopted. Is it check or wrong? You have to remember that we cannot only all inherit from our both parents, but we can also get from our grandparents. And for number 10, genetic variation means that different hereditary characteristics can be found in the same family. Genetic variation means that different hereditary characteristics can be found in the same family. So when we say genetic variation is the differentiation of genes, so means that different hereditary characteristics can be found in the same family. Is it check or wrong? Okay, if you're done, then that's the end of our class for today, and thank you for listening. Bye bye.